Evening all, my name is Ned, welcome to my channel. The majority of people here will know exactly who I am, what I'm doing, but for those who don't, my name is Ned. I am one of a group of 3 travellers who are kind of going around Asia. I've taken a gap year out where I have done kind of 6 months in retail and I've put enough money together to go travelling for about 3. So yeah, this video is kind of like a prologue, just explaining where I was, how I got here, what I'm taking, what I'm doing, sort of risks I'll be facing, and what the route is. So yeah, it's just going to be like a little prologue before I head out.
Really any point with me going further without showing you where I'm actually going. I start off in nice old England in the southwest, where I'll be travelling to London, then down to the UAE for 2 days to Dubai. Then we're going to go to Australia for a month where we'll be touring from Sydney to Cairns. Up to Malaysia, we'll start in Singapore for 3 days, then up to kind of Peninsula Malaya, which is this bit here, with Kuala Lumpur in it, for about 2 weeks. Up to Vietnam for a month where we'll be touring down the coast. Across to Cambodia for another kind of 3-4 weeks. Then up to Sri Lanka for a week, and then we'll come home, back to Dubai, then to England, just in home for tea.
I want to go to Southeast Asia because it is a place which to me offers a mixture of culture, challenge and a type of diversity that I've never really seen before. I'm from a quite, how can I put it, culturally homogenous part of the world. Some say it's very white, very kind of similar social class. Most people are very, not alike, but they have similar backgrounds, you know. There's not a lot of people here from different places. Most people here are, especially in the area I live, are born and bred 5-6 generations back. So for me, this is a opportunity to actually like go and meet people who I wouldn't have the chance to meet usually. I really like interacting with people from different cultures, different places. So this gives me the perfect opportunity and chance to do it. Also, I quite like the idea of going to Vietnam and Cambodia for the food. As I'm sure you can probably tell by the tummy, I'm a massive food head. So I love cooking and I love kind of eating out and stuff like that. Eating out not so much because I don't have an awful lot of money, but I quite like my cooking. So I'm really looking forward to that. Other things we're going to be doing is a lot of hiking, climbing, sailing, basically anything we get our hands on. So as I'm sure many of you probably know, there are quite a few risks involved with travelling. There's the usual ones obviously which are always present. There's human risk and I would describe it as kind of wild risk. Human risk, you've got mugging, you've got terrorism, you've got just random acts of cruelty which mankind are also capable of doing. I mean, I personally, maybe naively, usually think the best of people. I like to think that most people are genuinely inviting to their country. But I know there will be a small percentage out there who aren't, who want to take advantage because these countries are going to are very poor and therefore people will be desperate to survive. Then there's wildlife factors. So you've got, obviously in Australia, you've got all sorts of critters, snakes, spiders, jellyfish, crocodiles, sharks, sea snakes, oh god, it just goes on and on and on. And then you've got riptides, monsoons, wildfires, all sorts of things. I'm quite an experienced hiker in the UK. I've done D&B, but I mean, it doesn't prepare you for the sheer way that nature fights against you in these places. So it's going to be quite different. So there's that risk. Then we've also got a few what I'd call situational risks. So these are risks that have come about because of the current climate of the world. So the first one is probably the least worrying of the two. That is kind of Islamic extremism. As I'm sure anyone that looks at the news probably realise, things aren't great between Iran and America at the moment, though they have calmed down. So there is the threat of the Muslim world being slightly disrupted. Honestly, with the places that I'm going, Malaysia is pretty chill as a place, but the UAE obviously has had its fair share of terrorist activity. Honestly, we should be fine. I'm pretty sure we're going to be fine from that regard. About 99.9% sure. What's more of a threat is, of course, as I'm sure most of you know, coronavirus, which is nature's nice new monstrosity that she has unleashed upon the world. So coronavirus is a word that describes multiple different viruses, including the one I've got right now. I've got a bit of a cold. That's coronavirus. And then anything like flu is coronavirus, SARS and MERS, which is Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome. Those are all coronaviruses. So there's a vast quantity of things which can be considered coronavirus. This one, I've been studying it a little bit from afar. Obviously, I'm not medically trained, so I'm not going to pretend to be completely knowledgeable about it. But from what I can understand, it's somewhere in the middle of severity. So it can kill. It has killed, but generally only with people with weak immune systems and who are older. So yeah, there's that risk as well. I mean, hopefully we aren't faced with anything like that. We've taken a few precautions to make sure that we don't catch anything, but even if I do, it should be all right. So those are like the main kind of risks. So I think it's important to kind of acknowledge how I actually got here. So some people have this perception that gap year travellers are kind of funded completely by their parents. They're quite rich kids usually. And that their entire experience is bankrolled essentially, which in my case, and I'm sure there are cases where this happens, but in my experience, the majority of people who go on a gap year do one of two things. They either work in the country they are travelling in, so they'll work in Europe or Oceania, somewhere like that, North America maybe. Or, of course, the alternative is they do what I'm doing and they work here and then they go out. So I worked for 6 months. Me and my friends all did. We all worked a mixture of jobs. We mainly worked retail jobs. Me and Tom both had very similar experiences where we were employed for 3 months, made redundant, and had to find another job. So for the last 3 months, I've been working 2 jobs, so doing about 6 or 7 days a week. It's just what I had to do to actually get here and make sure that I could afford the flights and afford everything. So, we've worked really hard for this. I don't want anyone to think for a moment that this has been funded by anyone that isn't me, because it's completely off our own backs that we've done this. That's the same for all 3 of us. I must admit there is part of me that's quite proud of how much I've been able to save, how much I've been able to achieve in these months. So it just makes this bit even sweeter when I'm actually able to then step out and go, right, I'm able to spend that money and have an absolutely amazing time.
The only thing left is actually to go through what I'm taking. So on the bed here, down here, are my possessions for the next 3 months. So we've got some money. So this is a mixture of dollars and dollary dues from Australia. This is essentially a mixture of fallback money and bribe money, depending on where we go. Then I've got my water canteen. This is a replica of a NATO issued canteen. So yeah, it's to be honest, the main reason I got it is just because it's sturdy and it fills up with a hell of a lot of water. Got my glasses here. I believe these are my spare glasses. Yeah, spare glasses. For someone that wears them pretty much all the time and has to wear them all the time, having spare glasses is like a must. I've got these here face masks. Obviously, with the recent coronavirus outbreak, it's always good to be prepared. These were the ones used by the World Health Organization during the Ebola outbreak. Let's have a little look how I look at those. Stunning. So, we've got midge nets, sleeping bag liner for any dirty beds that we might be sleeping on, a Mazda health passport, which is very tattered, I've just realised, but that's got all my vaccination details in. Bungee rope. This is for a mixture of things, but mainly as a impromptu washing line, so you can string that anywhere basically. I've got this book. This is actually the book I've done the majority of the planning out. As you can see, I spilt some tea on it, but apart from that, it's actually a really good book and I highly recommend it for anyone that's travelling in the region. It's got like contact numbers, all information, cultural information, places to go. It's really good. What else? I've got my first aid kit here, which is a bit spread about at the moment. We got a few things like iodine, oral rehydration sachets, paracetamol, ibuprofen, and then we've got all kind of the more medical stuff like we've got antiseptic wipes, bandages, stuff like that. Here we've got my two best friends on flights, sleeping mask, and also some earplugs. Very nice. We have got some flashing tape here for any unexpected leakages. Laundry soap. So basically I'll show you how we'll use this sometime on the trip, but to do laundry, put a leaf into a bath, put your clothes in and just stamp it down, and works as a real quick way of washing your clothes without having to pay. This is Deep 50 spray. This basically keeps the bugs away. You don't need to go above Deep 50. Deep 50 is scientifically proven to be the most effective. Then there is travel soap, lock, sink plug, bin liner, towel, various things like clip ties, little bottles, sewing kit, stuff like that. Then we've got the little wash bag here with all the stuff in it. Nice little mirror there. Battery pack, this is a solar power one. Then we've got this here, which is my charger. I've also got my wallet here. The main card I'm going to be using here is my Starling bank card, which very helpfully has no numbers on the front. Even though I've just realised that that one does, so I'm going to have to blur that out in the video. Wonderful. I've got Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. This is like my main kind of book, holy book, I suppose, or as close as I come to a holy book. So I'll be keeping this on me at all times. I've got a tick removal kit. I've got a diary, some batteries, with a head torch, my bag, like a little RFID bum bag, this cool ass little plug adapter. Then I've got my clothing bag there, full of all the stuff I'm going to wear. These are my running trainers, which I'm going to bring as my kind of like bumming around trainers, just because they're very breathable. These are the shoes that I'm bringing for like any hiking. These are Tim's. They've just got kind of like a mixture of Gore-Tex and suede on them. I really like shoes like this to hike in. I mean, I worked in a hiking shop for about 3.5 months over this gap year, and I worked at the same one about a year beforehand as well. And this sort of shoe is definitely the one I'd always recommend to people. It's a nice mid-ground. And finally my bag, which is a 65 litre bag. It's got the ability to go up to 75 though. This has done me through 4 DV expeditions, so pretty good. The bag, it's all been packed up, if not a bit badly, because this bit here I need to actually correct that before I leave. But yeah, this is my little outfit for travelling. It's chavvy as hell and comfortable as hell, so I don't really care. Tomorrow we're going to be going up to Bristol to get our final jabs done, so tomorrow's video should be a little bit more interesting and also a bit shorter, you'll be glad to hear. This is only really good for kind of myself as a reminder of kind of how I got here, and also for anyone else that kind of wants to replicate what I'm doing, is thinking about what they need to pack for their own gap year, stuff like that. But yeah, make sure to give the channel a subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice night all. Pack for their own gap year, stuff like that.